All right, so you're getting ready for a port coordinator interview. That's great. We're going to dive deep into RoleCatcher's guides to help you totally nail those questions. Think of this like it's your secret weapon. Uh, Insider tips, real-world examples, even how RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra edge. We're talking about a role that keeps those massive ports moving smoothly. So let's get you ready to just sail through this interview.
What's really interesting about this role is it's a real balancing act. Keeping a global scale operation running smoothly, you'll be managing traffic flow, making sure ships get where they need to be on time, and cargo is handled efficiently. But it's also about enforcing regulations, dealing with security,
Yeah.
even advising on things like port tariffs, those fees ships pay for using port facilities.
So it's not just about moving things around. You're like
Oh.
the conductor of this giant, watery orchestra,
Mhm.
making sure everyone hits their notes at the right time. And RoleCatcher's Guide emphasizes that. It's a fast-paced, dynamic environment. You need to be sharp on your feet, ready to handle anything that comes your way.
Exactly. And that's what interviewers are going to be looking for. They want to know you can think critically, solve problems on the fly, and stay calm under pressure.
So let's dive into those tough interview questions and figure out how to approach them.
Sounds good to me. Let's start with a classic. What inspired you to pursue a career as a port coordinator? Now, this isn't just about telling them what's on your resume. They want to see your passion for the industry.
Right. Think about what genuinely excites you about this role. Maybe you were fascinated by ports as a kid, watching ships come and go. Or perhaps you're drawn to the challenge of managing complex logistics on a global scale. Whatever it is, connect your skills and experiences to what makes this role special for you.
I love that. Make it personal. Now, the next question might feel a bit intense. How do you prioritize tasks when managing multiple shipments?
Hmm.
Just imagine thousands of containers, deadlines looming, and people depending on you to keep everything on track. This is where you demonstrate your organizational superpowers. They want to see that you can stay calm and focused amidst the chaos. Remember the sheer scale of a port operation, and things don't always go according to plan. You might have to deal with unexpected delays, weather disruptions, even a ship arriving late. How do you stay organized and make sure everything gets where it needs to go?
RoleCatcher's Guide really emphasizes that. They stress the importance of critical thinking and coordination. Two skills that are absolutely essential in this role. You're going to need to think several steps ahead, anticipate potential problems, make sure everyone is on the same page.
And remember, this role often involves irregular work hours. You might be asked about your willingness to work nights, weekends, even holidays. So be prepared to talk about how you handle a demanding schedule.
Okay, moving on to question number 3. What experience do you have with customs regulations and compliance? This one's all about the details. Ports are international hubs, so knowing the rules and regulations is critical.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher highlights maritime law as key knowledge for this role. Even if you haven't worked directly in a port before, show that you've taken the initiative to learn. Maybe you've taken courses on international shipping regulations, or you're familiar with the ISPS code. That's the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code, which sets standards for port security worldwide.
So even if you don't have tons of direct experience, showing that you've done your homework and are eager to learn goes a long way.
Now, question 4 dives into the heart of the job. How do you ensure that shipments are delivered on time and within budget? You'll want to think back to situations where you've managed projects or tasks involving logistics and deadlines.
This is a perfect opportunity to use the STORE method. Situation, task, action, result. Paint a clear picture for them. Walk them through a specific situation. Describe the task at hand. Outline the actions you took, and highlight the positive results you achieved.
And don't forget to mention those insights from the entry-level port coordinator profile on RoleCatcher. How would you apply your experience to guide and support someone in that position? Show them you understand the different responsibilities within a port environment.
Excellent point. Now, question 5 is all about relationships. How do you maintain strong relationships with carriers and other stakeholders? This is where your communication and interpersonal skills really shine.
Remember, you're dealing with everyone, from shipping companies and customs officials to port authorities and even environmental agencies. Think about how you build rapport and resolve issues collaboratively.
Have you ever had to smooth over a tense situation with a difficult client or partner? Share a story that highlights your ability to build bridges and find common ground.
Speaking of tough situations, question 6 focuses on safety. How do you ensure that safety and security protocols are followed in the port? This one is absolutely critical. Ports can be complex and potentially hazardous environments.
Here's where your attention to detail and ability to enforce regulations comes in. Have you ever implemented a new safety procedure? Or identified a potential risk and taken steps to mitigate it? These examples demonstrate that you take safety seriously, which is essential in this role.
Now let's tackle question 7. How do you manage and resolve conflicts with stakeholders? Conflict is inevitable in any workplace, especially one as fast-paced and high-pressure as a port.
Right. It's about staying calm, listening actively, and finding solutions that work for everyone involved. Have you ever had to mediate a dispute between team members or negotiate a compromise with a demanding client? Share an example that shows you can handle conflict effectively and diplomatically.
Question 8 is all about staying ahead of the curve. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and best practices? The port industry is constantly evolving, with new technologies and regulations emerging all the time.
This is where you showcase your commitment to continuous learning. Do you subscribe to industry publications? Attend conferences or webinars? Participate in professional development courses? Show them that you're proactive about expanding your knowledge and skills.
And finally, question 9. How do you manage and develop a team of port coordinators? This might feel a bit daunting if you're interviewing for an entry-level position. But remember, leadership isn't just about having direct reports.
Exactly. It's about taking initiative, mentoring others, and contributing to a positive team environment. Have you ever taken on a leadership role in a volunteer organization or mentored a junior colleague? These experiences demonstrate your potential as a leader, even if you haven't formally managed a team before.
Now, before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, let's briefly touch on how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a real advantage in your interview preparation.
That's right. Remember how we mentioned RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your answers and get feedback for specific job roles? Let's explore that a little further.
RoleCatcher's AI is like having a personal coach in your pocket, especially their CV resume builder. Imagine this. You're applying for different port coordinator jobs. Maybe one emphasizes safety, another focuses on logistics. This AI can tailor your CV to each specific job, highlighting the right skills and keywords.
So it's not just about having one generic CV. You can actually fine-tune it to make sure it resonates with each individual employer.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of figuring out what hiring managers are looking for. But it gets even better. Let's say you're practicing your answers to those tough interview questions. RoleCatcher's AI can give you feedback on how you're doing. It's like having a virtual mock interview.
Wow, that's incredible. So you can rehearse your answers and get instant insights on how to improve. That's a game changer, especially for anyone who gets nervous in interviews.
Absolutely. It can help you identify areas where you might be rambling or where you need to be more concise. It can even suggest ways to strengthen your answers with concrete examples.
Okay, I'm sold. But wait, there's more, right? What about that video practice analysis I've heard about?
You're right. There's even more. If you're really serious about nailing this interview, RoleCatcher lets you record yourself answering questions and get AI-powered feedback on your body language, tone of voice, even things like eye contact.
It analyzes all of that. That's next-level preparation.
Yeah.
It's like having a team of interview experts giving you personalized feedback.
It really is. And it's all designed to help you walk into that interview with confidence, knowing that you've prepared in the best possible way.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the key questions you can expect in a port coordinator interview, the essential skills and qualities you need to showcase, and how RoleCatcher's AI tools can give you a serious advantage.
We've also touched on the broader context of this role, the fast-paced, dynamic environment, the importance of staying up to date with industry trends, and the diverse range of people you'll be interacting with.
And remember, it's not just about answering questions. It's about demonstrating your passion for the industry. Let your enthusiasm shine through.
Exactly. Let's shift gears for a moment and think about a few potential follow-up questions you might encounter. These can sometimes catch people off guard, but they're a great opportunity to show you've really thought about the role.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of follow-up questions should we be prepared for?
Well, let's go back to that question about prioritizing tasks. Imagine the interviewer says, "Tell me about a time you had to juggle multiple urgent priorities. What was the situation, and how did you handle it?"
Okay, so they're really digging into your problem-solving skills and your ability to stay calm under pressure.
Exactly. They want a concrete example, not just a general statement about being organized. Think of a time when things got really hectic. Maybe a shipment was delayed, a piece of equipment malfunctioned, or there was a sudden change in weather.
And walk them through your thought process. How did you assess the situation? What steps did you take? Who did you need to communicate with? And most importantly, what was the outcome?
Right. And don't be afraid to talk about the challenges you faced. It shows that you can learn from your experiences and adapt to changing circumstances.
Now, let's say they ask you about your experience with customs regulations. What if they follow up with, can you give me an example of a time when you had to ensure compliance with a specific regulation?
This is where you can really showcase your knowledge of maritime law and your attention to detail. Think about a specific regulation, maybe something related to cargo inspections, safety protocols, or environmental compliance. Describe the situation, explain the steps you took to ensure compliance, and highlight the positive results.
So it's all about demonstrating that you understand the importance of following the rules.
Yeah.
And that you have the skills and knowledge to do so effectively.
Precisely. Now, another common follow-up question might relate to your experience with technology. For example, they might ask, what experience do you have with port management software or other digital tools used in the industry?
The port industry is becoming increasingly reliant on technology, so it makes sense that they'd want to gauge your comfort level with these tools.
Exactly. Be prepared to talk about any software programs you've used, any training you've received, or any initiatives you've taken to stay up to date with the latest technological advancements.
Even if you don't have extensive experience with a specific software program, showing that you're eager to learn and adapt to new technologies is key.
Now let's shift gears to those relationship-building questions. If they ask you about maintaining strong relationships with stakeholders, they might follow up with, tell me about a time when you had to resolve a conflict with a difficult stakeholder. How did you approach the situation?
This is where you can really demonstrate your communication and diplomacy skills. Remember, conflicts are bound to happen, especially in a fast-paced environment like a port. They want to see that you can handle these situations professionally and effectively.
Choose an example that highlights your ability to listen actively, communicate clearly, and find solutions that work for everyone involved. Maybe you had to negotiate with a shipping company that was unhappy with the delay, or mediate a dispute between two team members who weren't seeing eye to eye.
Walk them through the steps you took to de-escalate the situation, find common ground, and reach a resolution.
And remember, even if the conflict wasn't fully resolved, you can still highlight what you learned from the experience and how you've grown as a communicator.
Okay, I'm starting to feel a lot more confident about handling those follow-up questions. But before we wrap up, let's touch on one more important aspect of interview preparation.
You're talking about that final thought-provoking question that can really leave a lasting impression.
Exactly. It's those big picture questions that can really set you apart. So what kind of questions should we be prepared for?
Oh, they might ask you something like, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing the port industry in the next 5 years? Or, what role do you see technology playing in the future of port operations?
Okay, so these are questions that require you to think beyond the day-to-day tasks and demonstrate that you're aware of the broader trends and challenges shaping the industry.
Exactly. They want to see that you're not just interested in a job. You're passionate about the industry as a whole, and they're looking for someone who's forward-thinking, who's eager to learn and adapt to change.
So how do you approach these kinds of questions? I mean, it's not like there's a right or wrong answer, is there?
You're right. There isn't one single correct answer. It's more about demonstrating your knowledge, your critical thinking skills, and your ability to articulate your thoughts in a clear and concise way.
So what would you suggest? Should we do some research on current industry trends before the interview?
Absolutely. Spend some time reading industry publications, checking out Port Authority websites, and familiarizing yourself with the latest technological advancements. For example, are you aware of the growing trend towards automation in ports? Or the increasing emphasis on sustainability and environmental responsibility?
Those are great points. I've read a bit about those trends. I'm fascinated by how ports are using technology to become more efficient and reduce their environmental impact.
That's a great example of something you could bring up in the interview. Show them that you've taken the initiative to learn about the industry and that you're excited about the possibilities for the future.
Okay, so reading up on industry trends is key. But how do we actually structure our answers to these big picture questions?
Think of it like a mini presentation. Start by stating your main point or argument. Then provide some supporting evidence or examples to back it up. And finally, summarize your key takeaway or conclusion.
So let's say they ask you about the biggest challenges facing the port industry. You could start by saying something like, I believe one of the biggest challenges is the need to balance efficiency with sustainability.
Exactly. And then you could elaborate on that point. You could talk about the pressure to move cargo quickly while also reducing emissions and minimizing the impact on local communities.
And maybe I can give an example of a port that's implementing innovative solutions to address this challenge, like investing in renewable energy or using electric cranes.
Perfect. You've stated your point, provided evidence, and given a concrete example. That's a compelling and well-structured answer that demonstrates your understanding of the industry.
Okay, this is really helpful. So we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about how to answer specific interview questions, how to handle those tricky follow-up questions, and how to approach those broader, more conceptual questions that can really set you apart.
And we've emphasized the importance of showcasing your passion for the industry, your willingness to learn and adapt, and your ability to think critically and solve problems.
And let's not forget about RoleCatcher. Their AI tools can be a game changer when it comes to tailoring your CV, practicing your answers, and getting personalized feedback. It's like having a whole team of interview experts in your corner.
It really is. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Think about what excites you most about the world of ports and logistics. What aspect of this industry are you most eager to learn more about? What kind of impact do you hope to make?
That's a great point. I think it's important to go into that interview with a sense of purpose, not just a desire for a job.
Exactly. Let your enthusiasm and curiosity shine through. Show them that you're not just looking for a job. You're embarking on a career journey in an industry that's vital to the global economy.
And remember, you got this. With the right preparation, the right mindset, and a little help from RoleCatcher, you can ace that port coordinator interview and set sail for a successful career.
Good luck at